A-Jun's tone doesn't sound like he's joking, which sends chills down Dong-Ik's spine. A-Jun slowly approaches Mina, who's sitting at the table with her back to him. All he can see is Mina facing away, making strange creak sounds, as if she's scratching something with her hands. A-Jun cautiously asks, Mina, what are you doing? Mina slowly turns around, and A-Jun is immediately terrified by what he sees. At that moment, time seems to rewind. A-Jun finds himself back at the instant he answered the phone, and the horrifying version of Mina has vanished. When the two friends meet up, A-Jun tells Dong-Ik about this bizarre encounter. Even more disturbing, A-Jun also claims he has no memory of who this Sung-min that Mina mentioned could be, just as they're puzzling over Mina's death. Another strange incident occurs at school. A student named Xiao-Hao, who transferred from a psychiatric hospital and regularly receives hypnotrophia for his amnesia, begins acting extremely bizarre during class. Xiao-Hao suddenly stops taking notes and stares blankly at his fingers. Then, to everyone's horror, he starts sharpening his own finger, as if it were a pencil. Fortunately, a female classmate's terrified screams stop him. The teacher immediately calls an ambulance, and Xiao-Hao is rushed to the hospital. But no one expects that Xiao-Hao mysteriously dies in the hospital that very night. The series of abnormal events makes Dong-Ik realize that none of this can be coincidental. He begins to suspect these deaths are connected to the recent hypnotrophia sessions everyone has been receiving. Searching for evidence, Dong-Ik begins looking online for the two characters Ziyun that Mina mentioned during hypnosis. His persistence pays off when he finally discovers an old photograph on a webpage for something called Ziyun Church. What shocks him is that the photo shows images of them as children. The children in the photo include Dong-Ik, Mina, A-Jun, Xiao-Wei, and several other unfamiliar kids they have no memory of. Filled with questions, Dong-Ik and A-Jun decide to travel to Ziyun to investigate in person. However, when they arrive at their destination, local residents tell them it's not a church at all, but rather an abandoned medical facility that once treated children with psychological disorders. Although the gates are locked, this doesn't deter their determination to find the truth. They climb over the fence and enter the eerie, abandoned building. In a drawer in the director's office, they find an old burlap sack, hood exactly like the one Mina saw in her hallucinations. At that moment, an elderly security guard who watches over the place discovers them. From the old guard, they learn a shocking truth: the Sung-min that Mina spoke of died 10 years ago. Because of her unusual appearance, Sung-min was frequently bullied by the other children. Then one day, a fire suddenly broke out. Most of the children escaped, but Sung-min was trapped in the basement and burned alive. This incident caused a huge uproar, and the director, unable to bear the pressure, committed suicide. The place has been abandoned ever since.